Namaste, Namaskar. Welcome to the channel 14 Shades of MBBS. Today we are going to discuss a beautiful chapter, Diseases of Adenoids. It is from ENT third year subject. Now, adenoids is also known as a pharyngeal tonsil. A brief anatomy of adenoids. Those are present in the nasopharynx and those are submucosal lymphoid tissue. They does not contain scripts and no capsule. They are lined by the ciliated columnar epithelium. From birth to childhood, they increase in size from birth, but gradually decreases to puberty, and later they atrophied at the time of puberty. Blood supplies by the ascending branch of facial artery. Another type of tonsil, also known as Gerlach's tonsil, which is the other name of the pharyngeal tonsil, but its position is extended into the lateral wall of the pharyngeal wall. Now let's come to the disease part. Clinical application. Adenoids inflammation may lead to the adenonitis or adenoid hypertrophy. Means the chronic inflammation or enlargement of adenoid which causes obstruction to the nasopharyngeal airway pathway. Here in the picture we can see the slides view of the adenoid. There is a hypertrophy grade 2, and we can see the vertebrae and base of the tongue and also turbinates. Now coming to etiology, how this adenoitis will occur. What is the causes for this are most commonly they are present in children. So common in children. In adults, as after puberty they are decreased in size, but in adults it's a rare condition. May suspect of lymphoma. But physiological hypertrophy is occurred in peaks at 2 to 4 years, because at 2 to 4 years is a bottle feeding time, so there is a recurrent infection of the baby or children, and those who are suffering with recurrent upper respiratory tract infection or allergies, and those who are living a poor socioeconomic status where there is overcrowding and environment pollution due to the less space area cubic feet, and physiological hypertrophy is the most common thing. But apart of it, size of the hypertrophy of adenoids is directly proportional to the aerobic bacterial load, also directly proportional to the B and T immune. Now we will discuss about the symptoms and signs simultaneously. Symptoms is what the patient tells to a doctor or examiner. Signs is what is elicited by a doctor. Symptoms, mostly nasal symptoms, as this adenoid is present in nasopharynx, may be enlarged of the adenoids, may lead to the nasal obstruction or recurring infection of adenoids. This nasal obstruction may causes difficulty in breathing, which may lead to mouth breathing and snoring also. And there is an increase in anterior nasal discharge because there is a difficulty in drainage of the nasal secretions, as there is a lump situated at the posterior part of the nasopharynx. Here we can see that if there is an enlargement of this adenoids may lead to the obstruction of this part, which may lead to difficulty in causing the difficulty in breathing, so resulting in the mouth breathing and also snoring. Also there is a difficult as the paranasal sinuses and other secretions are drained to this posterior part of the pharynx, but due to this accumulation of this lump of the adenoid which causes this decrease in secretion drainage of the secretions, so it may lead to the anterior nasal drip or anterior nasal discharge. Also, posterior nasal discharge is common due to leaking of some fluids from posterior part of the nasopharynx, and also hyponasal speech, also known as the rhinolithia clausa, and epistaxis is a rare condition. Coming to the signs, as due to obstruction of the nose from anterior part, there is a decrease in Cold spatula test. Cold spatula test is the cold tongue depressor placed in front of the nostrils where the fogginess can be measured. Next is discharge. The anterior nasal cavity and middle meatus discharge can be viewed by the examiner, and from post-nasal mirror examination there is enlarge of adenoids. Coming to oral signs or ear symptoms, Firstly, there is a recurrent ear pain, deafness, and ear discharge. Firstly, why there is an ear pain? Due to as the eustachian tube lies beside of the adenoid, due to adenoid hypertrophy, the adenoid may obstruct the eustachian tube, which may alter the pressures of either side of the eardrum. There is a negative pressure which causes the retraction of the drum. Firstly, which causes otalgia. Deafness is due to conductive type, as there is an altered pressure and which may lead to retracted eardrum. Ear discharge, because as there usually the middle ear secretions are drained through eustachian tube, due to accumulation of the secretions which may perforate the eardrum and which may lead to the ear discharge. Second, coming to signs, already said retracted eardrum and fluid may be present sometimes, and features of the acute otitis media, and which may untreated may lead to chronic otitis media. Tuning fork test, which may helps to interrupt with the conductive deafness. Coming to throat signs, throat is due to the throat symptoms. Recurrent pharyngitis may lead to also tonsillitis. One of the cause is the adenoiditis also, and mouth breathing, because as there is a compensation of the airway by the adenoids, which may lead to sore throat, and dysphagia, because as the tonsils were hypertrophied, and which may lead to dysphagia, and it leads to the poor eating and also leads to malnutrition. Change in voice is already discussed. Coming to signs of throat, there is a congestion of pharynx, and also post-nasal drip can be elicited. Coming to the neck, there is a cervical lymphadenopathy present in the upper and deep cervical lymph nodes, and also post-triangular lymph nodes, but in post-triangular lymph nodes are difficult to palpate unless they are enlarged to certain extent. Coming to adenoid phases, adenoid phases is a typical character that we can notice from a children, which helps us to give a diagnosis leading to adenoiditis. The main features of adenoid phases are pinched nose, mouth breathing, because there is a compensation of airway, dribbling of saliva as there is an open mouth and obstruction by the tonsils, high arched palate because of the increase in size of tonsils, and also crowded teeth at the upper part because of the mouth breathing, elongated face, dull look as they are poor eaters and lack of nutrition, loss of nasolabial folds, protruded upper lip because of the repeated mouth breathing, hand flat nasal arch, and deafness due to the obstruction of eustachian. Investigation is a main key for successful treatment. So firstly, diagnostic nasal endoscopy is preferred as the latest and most accurate and time consuming procedure. So degree of hypertrophy can be visualized and also elicited, and how much the airway compensated can also be elicited. Secondly, which is old one, but basically preferred, x-ray nasopharynx, lateral view of head and neck, we can see the hypertrophied adenoid, soft mass tissue, and sleep studies due to snoring and waking up at the midnight of lack of breathing. Coming to treatment, the treatment modalities of two types, mild and moderate. Mild treatment, where the symptoms are normal and just an acute infection. Firstly is the medical management, control of recurrent infections and allergies by telling the patient that he should be moved away from the area he is affected, and also prevent crowding and also he should move on from the pollution. Nextly, antihistamines and decongestants. Antihistamines are due to more allergic, can be treatment, and decongestant as there is a congestion of nasal mucosa and pharyngeal nasal mucosa mainly. Steroid space sometimes preferred, and improved nutrition because to prevent the side effects of the malnutrition. Moderate or severe is the adenoidectomy. It can be discussed as special chapter, and myringotomy due to the grommet adenoidectomy and myringotomy. Thank you. Hope you like it. Any feedback, please comment. Thank you.